Yep. Good evening, everyone. So, in our previous introduction demo session, I given some basic points. Today, at the end of session, I will share a WhatsApp community. You join that community. I will share a QR code with you. You can scan and join the community. There we upload the previous video. If you missed the previous demo video, you can get it from there. And until the demo sessions and other concepts continue, all the notes will be uploaded there. So daily notes and the session videos will be uploaded there. You join that community. At the end of session, I will share that community link to you. Okay. So last session in the demo of introduction to React, I explained these things. So we discussed about why we need, what is React, what is difference between React and Angular. We discussed what is React JS. Is it any difference? What is React Native? What are the versions of React currently active? And why you need React and Angular like technologies. We discussed about why we need them. Why we need them, I explained you some challenges, how to overcome these challenges, and what is the solution. Better build what kind of applications, build what kind of applications, single page applications and progressive web application. How to build single page progressive web applications? We can build by using JavaScript also. But JavaScript, jQuery have a lot of DOM interactions, DOM manipulations, lot of explicit AJAX is required. So alternative is what? So we are choosing the technology like what? React. Now the question, what are the features of React? So we need to discuss about these features. Let's see what are the features of React. So technically, what is the main concept of React? So I will start with a new point here. So features of React. Features. Features of React. So what are the key factors of React? What are advantages? So when anyone asks like, why should I use React? So how you suggest that React is good for me? Already we discussed React and Angular like technologies, they are not replacements or they are not choice. For an experienced person, both are required. So it is not a choice that either you need to learn React or Angular. It's not choice. Both are required. And we discussed for whom React is good, for whom Angular is good, which project uses that we understood. Now, how you support this React, that means how you justify that this is good for you. What are the key facts, features? So first important when we discuss about React is actually React, one of the major feature is it is component based. Component based. React is component based. One of the key feature of React is component based. What is component? Technically, you can later learn about it. But what is the advantage of being component based? For example, I will give you one small concept here. Don't worry what I am doing practically, just observe it. So just observe the concept what I am showing you. For example, suppose let's say we are designing a HTML page. So we are designing a HTML page. In this HTML page, we are creating a login screen, user register. So some register. So input type is text. So this is some email and you have a button register. Now what is the point is I designed a simple register concept here. I want the same register. So at the bottom of screen, same register I want at the bottom of screen. Here it will be there. At the bottom of screen also I want same register. For example, suppose you look at Netflix. We will see Netflix and this is Netflix. In this Netflix you see ready to watch, then enter your email and get started. And when I scroll down, bottom also I have the same. Right? Now tell me with your HTML knowledge, how you will get another one for this. I want again this. How? Copy paste? Seriously? You will copy paste? That means you are not a web developer. If you are thinking like you will copy and paste, that's not great idea. Right? That means will you copy paste? That's what generally at HTML level you think how to design it. Now, what is the speciality of being component based? Now, what I can do is I can design this as a component. What is the advantage of component? That means the components can be reused. It is easy to extend. It is easy to reuse. It is easy to separate. It is easy to test. That means what you can do is you can keep all this. You can keep all this. That means actual point is suppose you see body on load. On load is what? Body load. Suppose I am writing a script and we have a function body load. And in the above body load, we have a function called login. In this login, what it is doing is it is returning this markup. That means it is returning this markup. That means it returns this markup. It returns this markup. Just suppose I given like this. It returns. Means later we will learn about that. So actually I will keep in a backtick. It is returning this markup. Just let's say return directly this markup. You don't need a block. It is returning this markup. So you have a login which returns markup. So what I do now here is I want a login. Then what I will do? So here on body load, I will call this login. Then you can see a login screen will come here. That means on body load, a login should come. But so generally to return a login like function, it returns a markup. Where to present you have to tell. You can't directly print it because this need to be presented. Na? For example, I am using instead of return this one, just roughly. Means later you will learn append and all, document dot write. So you present all this markup. That means when login, a login will come. I want again login, then I will use again login, then another login will come. I can duplicate. I can reuse it. I used a login, I can use another one. You will not copy paste. You will not copy paste. In general, I am telling. That means this nature of design, this is component based. Component based means you create a reusable component so that you can implement anywhere. You can customize according to your requirement. Remember, in one place, I want register. In another place, I want another admin register. I want some manager register. Is it possible to change? Of course, we can change. It can ask title and we can put the title here. We can put the title here. We can put title here. And here I will say title is admin login. Here I say user login. Here I will say that manager login. Then automatically it changes everywhere. We can customize according to our requirements. This is just like component based. This is not true component based. I just morphed it. But later you will learn really component based. So what is the advantage of being component based? So it is easy. It is easy to reuse. So that means easy to reuse, extend, and test. It is easy to reuse, extend, and test. That means actually it enables so good reusability, extensibility, so testability, and maintainability. Maintainability. All these are the points. So one of the key feature of React is it supports component based design. I hope components are not new for you. You might have learned already when you learned JavaScript and all. Bootstrap, JavaScript, everywhere you have components. For example, you know, when we use this, you see, when we use this Amazon, this is Amazon. And you can see that Amazon, you can see. So in Amazon, this is what, yeah, technically it is input group component. It is a search bar, of course, but it is a component. We call it as input group. And what is this? This is a carousel. It is a carousel. What is carousel? Carousel is a component with sliding banners, contents. And for example, suppose what is this? This is a nav bar. And for example, what are these? Cards. Cards components. They are cards. For example, what is this? What is this? Do you know? It is called off canvas. That is called off canvas. That means these are components. These are technically components. So what is React? React is component based. Component based enables reusability, maintainability, extensibility, testability. Another key feature is it is modular. React is modular. Another key feature is modular. What is meant by modular? So what is the concept of modular? These days, all libraries are all modular. Languages are becoming modular. Actually, what is the concept of modular? What is difference is generally we have legacy. Generally we have legacy. And we have modular. We have two types, legacy and modular. What is difference between legacy and modular? Legacy is nothing but it loads everything. It initiates everything, loads everything, even to use a small functionality. But modular means it loads only what is needed for you. It loads only what is needed for that requirement, for that situation. That means, for example, of course, JavaScript teaches you modular. For example, what you do, suppose I am having a script file, some demo.js. It is a JavaScript file. I have a function in this script file. The function is hello and it returns hello React something. And we have another function. So and welcome and it returns. So it return welcome to React 18, something like this. Now what I want to do is I want to use these functions in my page. Then how to use the functions in this page? I want to use those functions in this page. Then generally what you do, is you link a script file, script source. What is the file name? Demo.js. So what you are doing, you are linking a script file to a HTML page. That means you are loading these two functions into memory. But currently I want to use only this. So there are 100 functions in a library. You are loading complete library and you are using only one. That is legacy. Legacy means you are loading everything, but you are using only one or two. What is modular? Modular allows you to load only what is needed for you. I hope you learned in JavaScript how to make this modular. We don't link the file. What we do, script type, we set it to module. What is the advantage of that? We can import. We can import only welcome function from which one? Demo.js. Then document.query selector. Document.query selector. I'm accessing paragraph. In paragraph inner HTML, I can display that welcome, whatever result of welcome is. And it is going to import and show only what is welcome available there. Here, one more point is what is the name? These functions need to be marked as export. In order to use anywhere outside, you have to mark them as export. Then you can see them. That means what we are doing here, I am using a modular approach. This is your general JavaScript. You will never link a complete file to use small functionality. If you are doing that, you are not doing a great thing. Why you are linking a JavaScript file with hundreds of functions if you have to use only one or two from them? That is not great idea. Even Java, .NET like technologies, earlier they used to be legacy. Very recently, they transformed themselves into modular. Even Java, .NET like technologies, they transformed themselves into modular recently, not long back. What is the advantage of modular? Now tell me. Understood modular? Modular means you just import what you need. You use only what you need. What is advantage of modular? So it reduces burden on app. It uses less memory. It is faster. Application specific framework. Only what is needed that will be used. Right? That means what is the meaning of the word modular? Modular means what? Part by part. What is advantage of modular? What is the advantage of becoming modular? So it uses less memory. So it loads. So it loads application specific framework. Application specific framework. It makes application lightweight, and it renders faster. These are all the advantages of being modular. So React, one of the main reason to choose React There are so many features. So one of the main reason is component based. Another one is modular. So being component based allow reusability, separation, extensibility, maintainability, and testabilities. They improve them. And being modular will make application lightweight and faster. It uses only application specific framework. Application specific framework. Another important is it is loosely coupled and extensible. Because of modular, it is loosely coupled and extensible. Already we discussed this in the previous challenges. So loosely coupled and extensible. Another key feature about React is it uses virtual DOM. This is one of the key feature. If anybody asks, tell me the features of React, at first priority virtual DOM. Others, as usual, they are casual features. The main feature is virtual DOM. One of the key feature is virtual DOM. But React claims as its feature, but many people are not satisfied with that. Already we know that we are not completely satisfied with React or Angular like technologies. They may be used very much in certain areas, but we are not satisfied completely with them. That means you will see many high-level technicians, they have a lot of issues on React and Angular. They complain on React and Angular, and they don't use also. We use Backbone.js, we use Ember.js, we use Knockout.js like scripts. We don't use React and Angular just because we are not satisfied with them. That means you are learning about React, you are learning about Angular just because. So for you, certain features are okay, you are satisfied, and your company is also satisfied, and they are using it. But it doesn't mean that everybody likes React. So majority of developers world doesn't like React also. That means they are not interested in the way how React works. I will tell you its issues also. We will discuss about that. So, but it is okay. It is satisfying to certain requirements. That means it is completely developer's choice. That means the environment, the requirement of client business, based on that we need to design and we have to use. Many people are not satisfied. Why? I will tell you. So you need to understand what is this virtual DOM. Actually, to understand this virtual DOM, first you should know, means to understand what is virtual DOM. So first you should know what are the key facts you should know is, one is, what is DOM? So first thing, in order to understand virtual DOM, you need to understand first what is DOM. In general HTML, JavaScript, you already learned. What is DOM? Not full form. Huh? What is DOM? Full form is okay. Right? What is DOM? DOM is an hierarchy of elements arranged in a page. Browser arranges elements in an hierarchical order. This hierarchy is called as DOM. DOM. Actually, to understand the DOM, first basic thing I hope everybody learned in HTML. I will just give a concept here. To understand the concept of DOM, you need to come from the background of browser and browser engine, browser architecture. This all you should know. To understand what is DOM, you should know browsers, browser architecture, how the browsers present everything, you should know. I will give a simple overview. HTML teaches you all this, but I will just give a simple overview to you. So first you need to understand the browser architecture. So you need to understand the browser architecture. This is the browser architecture. That is the browser architecture. That means first you need to understand how browser works. Then you can understand what is DOM, what is virtual DOM, and what are the features and all. In HTML, you know all this. You might have learned. Every browser comprises of these components. What is browser UI? Browser have a UI, user interface. Every browser like Edge, Firefox, Safari, Chrome, they have these components. These are the primary components of browser. What is UI is nothing but when you open a browser, you will see some shortcut buttons, back button, refresh button. So you see forward button, you see home button, you see address bar, scroll bar. These all the browser UI. Now tell me, can I change the back buttons functionality? Can I change refresh button functionality? Yes, we can change if we have access to UI backend. If you have access to UI backend, you can do that. Do you know we design our own browsers for browsing? We can create our own browsers. We don't need to use Edge, Firefox like browser. Software programmers can create their own browsers and use their own browsers. In ChatGPT, if you go and write code for a custom browser, it will give you entire code. You just name the browser with your own name. You can design your own browser, and every browser have a UI backend. Safari and Chrome and Edge, these people will not give you access to that backend. If they give you access to the backend, you can modify. You can modify back button, you can modify refresh button, right? That means, see, we are in the generation of artificial intelligence. And do you know when you're doing any transaction in a website, they will ask, please don't refresh, please don't push back button. Why you are requesting them? Why can't you simply disable back button? Why you can't simply disable refresh button? Why you are begging them? Don't refresh, don't back. Simply disable. You are in artificial intelligence generation. After all, you can't control back button. No, we can't control because we don't have access to that backend. So whatever UI you see in the browser, that is controlled with some logic in the backend. That is called UI backend. Every browser have UI backend. If you have access to the backend, you can customize, you can modify. And every browser have a browser engine. I hope you people know different browser engines. What is the responsibility of browser engine? The responsibility of browser engine is to translate HTML and CSS. HTML, CSS is translated into browser understandable. Many people, what they tell you, browser understands HTML. That is the reason we write HTML. That's wrong. Browser understands any electronic software component understands only binary codes. Right? Even browser don't understand HTML. It need to be translated. And it is done by whom? Browser engine. And you know different browser engines are there. Every browser have different engine. Chrome have engines like Blink V8. Safari have engine like WebKit. And Firefox have engine like Gecko, Spider, Monkey. Edge have engine called Chakra. Very recently, very popular browser engine is Chromium. Many browsers are using that Chromium. These are our browser engines. What is the responsibility of a browser engine in browser? Translating HTML and CSS. Translating HTML, CSS is done by browser engine. These are browser engine. After translating, presenting the content is done by rendering engine. Browser have a rendering engine. Rendering engine is responsible for presenting the output. Translating HTML, CSS is browser engine. Presenting is done by rendering engine. Rendering engine is responsible for generating the final output. But browser engine cannot translate your JavaScript. It can translate only HTML, CSS. JavaScript is translated by JavaScript interpreter. In a browser, you have a separate JavaScript interpreter, line by line translator, which translates JavaScript. Browser engine translates HTML, CSS. Rendering engine will present the translated content, and JavaScript interpreter will translate the JavaScript. And networking is identifying resources and presenting the resource. You typed something in address bar www.somename.com and hit enter. If the name is wrong, some spelling is mistake, then it says not found 404. That means who is looking for the resources you are requesting, who is accessing the resources, who is rendering those resources. All that work is done by what? Network. Networking is responsible for collecting the resources required, loading the resources required. Resources means you need some images, you need some scripts, you need some CSS. Everything loading is done by whom? Network. Network identifies the resources and all. Data persistence is nothing but storing your data. You know, browser have local storage, browser have session storage, browser have cookies. All that is data persistent. Browser can save your user ID passwords. Browser can remember the websites and passwords so that next time when you open, they can give you the suggestion about the passwords. All that is done by data persistence. This is the architecture of browser. Every browser works in this way. And here, what is the job of browser engine? In this browser engine, it is responsible for translating HTML. So what is DOM now? Generally, what happens is, means the basic process I will tell you here. These are all general HTML things you should know. And I hope many people are aware in HTML. Generally, developer writes markup. Developer writes markup. Usually markup will be like this. So be hello. This is the markup. When developer writes the markup, this markup is not directly understandable to browser. Many people tell you that browser understands HTML. Browser don't understand HTML. Browser cannot understand the markup. Then what happens is the markup is translated into bytes. The markup is translated into bytes. That means this markup is translated into binary code. This is translated into the byte code. It is translated into the byte code. This byte code is again translated into characters. That means byte code. So byte code is translated into characters. Characters means usually what happens, it will put an angle bracket, it will put a B, it will close angle bracket like that. It will convert the binary codes into characters. And these characters are brought together. So that means the characters here, characters are transformed. Characters are transformed into tokens. Characters are transformed into tokens. These characters are transformed into tokens. Tokens means what? They form into B like this. Usually people call them as what? Tags. But HTML don't have any tags actually. Means technically speaking, there is no tag. Technically speaking, there is no tag. Technically, they are tokens. The process of converting these characters into tokens, we call them as, this process is called as tokenization. This process is called tokenization. Tokenization is the process of converting the characters into tokens. The characters are converted into tokens. That process is tokenization. In many MNC React interviews, this question is asked. What is tokenization? And at React level, you say, I don't know what is tokenization. It's like joke. What you are talking about. That means you don't know your HTML also. You are a React developer and you don't know what is a tokenization. Tokenization is the process of transforming the characters into tags. So now what happens is these tokens are converted into, that means tokens are transformed. Tokens are transformed into nodes. They are transformed into nodes. They are transformed into nodes. That means, for example, the token is IMG. IMG is a token. And what is the node? Node is what? Image. Image is the node. Suppose we have A is a token. Am I right? A is a token. And what is its node name? Node name is anchor. Anchor is its node name. These tokens are converted into nodes. These nodes, we technically call them as elements. So HTML is all about elements, not tags. HTML is not about tags. HTML is all about elements. Even browser don't know what is a tag. Browser knows only elements. For example, you open anything in your page. You open something, right click and inspect. When you inspect, it says that, so it is saying that these are all elements. Nowhere it is saying that these are tags. It is saying that these are all what? Elements. It is not saying tags. Browser don't know any tag word. Browser don't know any tag word. You may be using the word tag, but browser don't know any tags. Browser knows only what? Elements. And remember, these elements are arranged in a hierarchical order. That means these are arranged in a hierarchical order. We have a parent, and under the parent, so under the parent, you will have child elements. These are arranged like a hierarchical order, parent and child elements. That means we have like child 1. So we have like child 2. Like this, they are arranged in the form of parent and child hierarchy, child 1, child 2. Now this hierarchy of arranging elements, we call this as what? DOM. We call this as DOM. This is DOM. That means usually what happens? So you write markup. Markup is translated into what? Markup is translated into bytes. Bytes are translated into characters. Characters are translated into tokens. Tokens are transformed into elements. Elements are arranged in a hierarchical order called DOM. And do you know what happens? This DOM undergoes a process called layout. This DOM will create a layout. Layout means where which content have to display. And this layout will undergo a process called render. Layout will undergo a process called render. And after render, then there will be a process called painting. And the result of painting, that means it will have layout. Layout, after layout, it will render. And the render will result to painting. And painting is the result. The result of painting is what you say in your browser. In your browser, you will see hello in bold. This is the hierarchy. That means how HTML works in a browser. This is called HTML parsing, HTML translation in browser. That means the whatever result you see, that is the result of a phase called what? Painting. You can see that. For example, you see now, suppose in this page, I just used a bold hello. Now, first point, am I writing any hierarchy? I am not writing any hierarchy. But you see, I am not writing any hierarchy. But you see, right click and inspect. Browser keeps in a hierarchy. You see, browser keeps in a hierarchy. I am not designing any hierarchy. I am not writing any HTML head section, body section. I just given bold. Browser knows where to keep it. Browser knows where to design it. It uses an hierarchical order. And this hierarchy is called as what? DOM. And observe here, you can go to performance. Go to performance category. Here, click record button. When you start recording, it is profiling. Profiling is nothing but it is tracking. You just refresh your page. Okay. When you refresh, after refreshing, it will capture the background process. Then you just stop the profiling. When you stop the profiling, you will see the process, what happened behind. And you will see the process, what happened behind. It is loading the profile to us. And you see it is processing the profile, and see it is showing the process. Loading, scripting, rendering, painting. That means what is the concept of painting? The result of painting is what currently you are watching. The result of painting, the process of generating output and displaying in the browser, we call this process as what? Painting. Suppose you designed a web page and somebody complains that this page is slow. Then as a developer, I need to track down where it is slow. Is it loading slow? Is it rendering slow? Is it scripting slow? Is it painting slow? If it is painting slow, I have some tricks to apply. If it is rendering slow, some other tricks to apply. If it is scripting slow, then some other tricks to apply, so that I can reduce the time. You can see the time. It took 84 milliseconds for scripting. It took 5 milliseconds for rendering. You took 5 milliseconds for painting. We can reduce the time if we know the techniques. That means if a complaint comes that your page is slow, then we need to track down where it is slow, why it is slow. This is all the process, how it happens in the background. This is general process of HTML. When you learn your HTML, you know all this, how your HTML is compiled, how it is processed in the browser, how it will generate the output. This is called HTML parsing. That means this is the basic process, how HTML will process. This is the basic process of HTML. So we write markup to what? Bytes to characters, characters to tokens, tokens to node, and node will form a DOM. And this DOM will undergo the process of layouting, rendering, and painting. The final result is what it paints. Actually, I explained only HTML DOM. CSS also have a object model. If in your page you are using CSS also have a object model. We have two object models running in a page. One is document object model, another one CSS object model. What is the job of JavaScript? Do you know? It manipulates this DOM. The job of JavaScript is to manipulate the DOM. So DOM is the key thing in presenting the layout. So what is DOM? So a simple point. So DOM is a hierarchy of elements in page. Is a hierarchy of elements in page. Is a hierarchy of elements in page. That is the first thing you should know. So actually, the hierarchy of elements, DOM hierarchy looks like this. This is the basic DOM hierarchy. That means how elements are arranged in a page. This is how elements are arranged in a page. Elements are arranged in this hierarchical order. Actually, your JavaScript can access in the same order. For example, suppose this is the DOM order actually. For example, see, suppose we are having a page. In this page, I have an image. In this page, I have a form. We have an input type as what? Text. And we have input type is equal to button. Now what I want here is, in this page you can see, actually in this page you can see, so this image is having width as 100, height also 100, and you see we have an image. Currently image is empty, button is also empty. What I want is, whenever body loads, on load, body load, I want some image to apply. So I am writing a script function body load. On body load, I want some image to apply here. Right? Now, how JavaScript can access any element in a page? It can use the DOM hierarchy. See the DOM hierarchy. See the DOM hierarchy. In the DOM hierarchy, where is image? Image is here. Images is a part of what? Document, and document is a part of window. So what I am doing here, I am writing here. So let's go to the logic. I am writing here, parent is window. In that we have a document. In that we have images. Images is an array. We have only one image. Its index number is 0. Image should need an SRC. I have some SRC public images, some woman fashion, some .jpg. I have some image like this in my page, and it is going to set that image there. That is how JavaScript access any element. It access by using a DOM hierarchy. So for example, I want to access this button and put a value in that button. See the hierarchy. In the DOM hierarchy, you can see where button will come. In the DOM hierarchy, you see the button is a part of what? Elements. Element is a part of forms. Forms is a part of document. Document is a part of window. So you see what we do now. So we access like this. We are accessing window. In that document, in that what? Forms. How many forms are currently there in my page? 1. Its index is 0. In that what? Elements. How many elements I have in my page? 2 elements are there. One text box, another one button. Button index is how much? 1. It is a button. So I will put a value for button as register. Then JavaScript can access and put a register there. That is how JavaScript can access elements, because the elements are arranged in that hierarchy. Usually you may learn to get element by ID and all these things, but this is the native method. That means elements are arranged in a hierarchical order. And what is that order? DOM. So JavaScript access the elements in that order also. So first thing, you should know what is DOM. I hope you are clear. Now second, you should know what is shadow DOM. What is shadow DOM? Remember, these are all interview questions for React people at experience level. That means when you put some experience, many questions of React for React people, 80% your questions will be JavaScript. That means in React interview, you can expect 60% questions in JavaScript and 40 in React. Because they don't much ask first React. Because when they start asking React, you can answer every question. Because React, after all, library. Asking about library is nothing. There is no interview at all. You will be tested in language, not library. And the language is TypeScript and JavaScript. So that means every React interview, the basic questions will be related to architecture, related to JavaScript, and related to technical terms in the architecture. That's the reason just learning React concepts, you will become perfect in React designing, but you cannot crack interviews. You are a perfect React developer by learning React concepts directly. You can do anything in React, you can design anything in React, but you cannot crack React interview. Why? Because the interview will be 40-60% everything JavaScript and its architecture. For experienced people, they go more depth about architecture. They will ask many architectural concepts for experienced people. That's the reason we should know all these technical terms. So now what is this shadow DOM? DOM is okay. What is this shadow DOM? Shadow DOM is nothing but For example, you see, I'm using here input type as date. Generally, what is this date? You may think like date is an date element, but date is not a date element. Date is a component. Actually, date is a component. Input type text, input type button, input type date, input type email, input type number. These are all components. Do you know actually when you use input type date, you see date picker came. What do you think? This is an element. This is not element. Do you know it is designed with? This is a span. This is a span. This is a span. This is an icon. And do you know that icon have a on click event? When you click on that icon button, it will open a window. When you click up and down arrow, it will use pagination. When you select anything, it will choose that and it will load into the text box. That means it is not just one element. It is a combination of several elements. It is an component in DOM, but this DOM is having a shadow DOM. That means, do you want to see how it is built? If you want to see how it is built, it have a shadow DOM. Shadow DOM means a hierarchy of a component. DOM is hierarchy of a page, but in page, a component can have a hierarchy. For example, you right click, go to inspect. When you go to inspect, you can observe in the settings, you will find settings. In the settings, you scroll down, there will be an option shadow DOM. There will be an option shadow DOM. Remember, currently shadow DOM is not selected. Then what will happen is you will see that this input is a simple input date. By seeing this, you think that it is just input date comes. No, if you want to see what is the code behind, you can go to the settings and you can select here shadow DOM. When you select that shadow DOM and close, you see now that date is designed with a lot of hierarchy. You see, so much is used for it. And this is actually the shadow root, shadow DOM. So what is DOM and what is shadow DOM? DOM is a hierarchy of elements in a page, and shadow DOM is a hierarchy of elements in a component. Component have a hierarchy inside. What do you think? Button is simply button? No, button is a div actually. Button is a div. It is a box. In the div, it is having a span. When you click the div, it will work like a button. Button is a div actually. That means radio button, check boxes, these are all components. They are not actually elements. Technically speaking, they are components. You click once, it will be checked. You click again, it will be unchecked. Functionality is working. That means they are all designed with a lengthy hierarchy behind it. This is called as what? Shadow DOM. So HTML have two important things to understand, DOM and shadow DOM. So shadow DOM is a hierarchy of elements in a component. Is a hierarchy of elements in a component. So we have DOM and we have shadow DOM. Now we need to understand what is virtual DOM. Virtual DOM. So we have DOM and shadow DOM and virtual DOM. What is this virtual DOM? What is the concept of virtual DOM? Actually, the concept of virtual DOM is simple. These all diagrams and that presentation I will upload into a classroom community. I will share that community at the end of this session. You can join there and you will get these diagrams, presentations and everything, whatever I showed you, right? So what is this virtual DOM is? Actually, we have a browser. So we have browser and we designed some HTML page. Suppose we are having an application. We have some application here. Okay. Now what happens is this is going to present the actual DOM. That means we have a DOM hierarchy like parent and we have parent and child hierarchies like this design. Just roughly, I'm creating a parent-child hierarchy like this. That means this is child 1 and this is child 2. This is child 2. Like this we are having. Now this is the actual DOM. Inside the browser we have an actual DOM. That is actual DOM. DOM is the hierarchy of elements inside this browser now. This is the DOM. Now what happens is browser is going to have a memory. So this is the browser memory. This is the browser memory. In browser memory, what it will do is it will maintain a copy of this DOM. In the browser memory, it will maintain a copy of the DOM. That means it is going to maintain a copy of the DOM. This is called as what? This is called as virtual DOM. It is called as virtual DOM. Virtual because in physical reality it is not present. Actual reality is DOM. This is just a virtual DOM. Now what happens is, this is your application. Whenever you add new element, suppose you are adding new element or you are updating something, what happens now is generally it will update into this actual DOM. JavaScript and jQuery will use the actual DOM. When it updates, you saw the process, na? I showed you the process. What is the process? Markup to bytes, bytes to characters, characters to token, token to DOM, DOM nodes, nodes to DOM, DOM to layout, layout to render, render to paint. This entire process should execute again. And to execute that entire process again, remember a small change also have to render again. Then it will take a lot of time. Then what React people say that we will update in the virtual DOM and give the result to you. That means you are satisfied with the result immediately, but in the background we will be doing the work. That means they say that we will maintain a virtual DOM for you. You just do some action, immediately result will reflect. But actually, originally it is not done. Slowly it will do that work in the background. So user feels that it is immediately done, but actually it is not done. It is working in the background. It will take some time. For user, it looks fast, but technically it is still working. It is doing the update in the background, but for you, it is satisfied because you immediately see the result. For example, you see you are paying some electricity bill or you are paying some credit card bill through PhonePe, Paytm, all these like apps. When you pay, what happens is they show a confirmation saying that bill paid successfully. But do you know it is not credited into your account immediately? It will take some time, but you are very satisfied. That is your mental weakness, which they cache. That's what React also doing. And how you say React is great. That is, it is mentally fooling you. That it seems like it is fast, but actually it is doing the works. That's the reason many high-level technicians are not satisfied. They say that what you are doing, you are maintaining entire DOM in memory. Is it not heavy for memory? You tell in general. Is it not heavy for memory to maintain an entire copy of actual DOM? Obviously. So many high-level technicians not satisfied. So you say your virtual DOM, I am not satisfied with your virtual DOM, but because I am not concerned about that. But these days apps are very much impressed with this. That means what apps want to do, they show immediate result, whatever happens in background, leave it. It will later update, it will later do all the actions. That is not the concern. So the user is very much satisfied. User feels like it is very fast. That means you psychologically make the user that React applications work fast. But technically, this is the background. That is the reason it is not a great concept every time. So many people are not satisfied with this virtual DOM, but this is what React claims, that we have virtual DOM, we deal with virtual DOM, it is good. Angular like technology, they don't deal with virtual DOM. But Angular is also used. They don't deal with virtual DOM, they deal with actual DOM. Right? Few technologies so feel like. That means when we come with UI interactions, only UI, then it looks better. It looks better because you just show him the result, background you do the work. That looks better. It makes the application feel like it is fast in interactions. That is one advantage of virtual DOM. So what is the concept of virtual DOM? It is a copy. It is a copy of actual DOM in memory. It is a copy of actual DOM in memory. So React uses virtual DOM to update the UI interactions, to update the UI simply. Virtual DOM to update UI. It makes the rendering and presentation look faster than normal. Look faster than normal. That is the reason React claims that our apps are 10x speed than other apps. That means 10 times faster than other apps. But actual trick and technique is this, and this is not also very much satisfied every time. So whenever we talk about React, but React says that this is one good thing. It's okay for certain reasons, it is good, but not every time, right? It is not every time. And how this virtual DOM works later you will learn. Once you start using React, how virtual DOM created, how it updates, everything you will learn. Architecture you will understand later. Just you need to know that what is this virtual DOM and what are the features, right? That means to make you understand this, what is virtual DOM, I have to explain these three. You should know browser architecture, you should know browser engine, you should know HTML parsing, and you should know what is DOM. Actually, before DOM, you should know browser engine, browser architecture, HTML parsing, all these things. So then you will understand DOM, you will understand shadow DOM and virtual. Several React interviews have a question about what is difference. What is shadow DOM, what is virtual DOM, and what is DOM. These are the three basic differences. I hope you are clear. DOM is about hierarchy of elements in a page, and shadow DOM is about the hierarchy of elements in a component. And virtual DOM is a copy of actual DOM. That means in React, you don't directly interact with actual DOM. You interact with virtual. This makes React look like faster than normal, right? Other apps. That is one point how it works, right? These are key features of React. Another important React people claim that so it uses one-way binding. Later, I will tell you about what is data binding and all. They say that it uses one-way binding. Again, if I explain this, what is one-way binding, then you will not be satisfied with this. You will not be satisfied with this. But they claim that this is good for certain reasons. But everybody is not satisfied with this. Angular says we are two-way binding. They say that is a feature for Angular. These people say this is feature for React. Right? What is one-way binding is nothing but simple point I will explain, because later technically you will see that. Suppose we have a variable x10. And what we are doing is we are having a text box. In the text box, we are displaying that value 10. That means what we are doing is we are accessing the value from X and displaying in text box. That means this is This is one-way binding. One-way binding. Now what happens is I made some changes. That means I am trying to make some change in the value 10. This change must be updated back into X. Am I right? And what is the change? I changed that to 20, which should be updated. React says that I will not allow this and this is my feature. What you are talking about? Right? React says that I will not allow this and this is my specialty. Are you sure this is specialty? What do you say? See, for a fresher newcomer who is newly learning technologies from past 3-4 years, these are all exciting things. But for 20-25 years experienced people who seen all these technologies born in before their eyes, this is rubbish. They don't like this all. What you are trying to do? What you are trying to do? So that means for freshers, newcomers, learning technology, they excite this. So, but for very extreme experts, these are all time waste things. What you are trying to do, what you are trying to tell, right? That means this is a feature. Okay, it is a feature, little bit better. When it is a feature, what is advantage of this? Accidental modifications we can prevent. Unintentional changes in the data we can prevent if there is one-way binding. That looks good at certain stages, but two-way binding is difficult. That means if I have to handle modification update, then manually you have to implement. Manually you have to implement the two-way binding. It doesn't mean that React will not use two-way binding. React will use two-way binding, but implicitly it is what? One way. One way. That they say as a feature because they say that, so we will not allow any accidental changes. We will not allow accidental modification in the data. This will prevent security issues with them. This will prevent attacks from various apps. That's okay. But how you will implement two-way binding then? Then you have to depend on a lot of logic to write. You will see that once you start using React. But that means these are okay, good features up to certain stages, right? But these are all the claims of React. What React says is these are all the features of React. Now we need to understand what are the issues with React. That means what are the drawbacks? That means drawbacks means some limitations of React. What are the limitations of React? Every technology have its own limitations that may not satisfy developers very much every time. And one of the main concept about React is it is not designed for what you are using. It is not designed for what you are using. What is the problem with this is hence lot of gaps. Hence we have a lot of gaps. It is not designed for what you are using. That is the reason we have a lot of gaps. So what is the meaning of this? It is not designed for what we are using means actually React is one library which is not developed for us. For example, I will show you a community like online. We have a community. This is developers.facebook.com. You know, this is Meta, which is developers community of Facebook. Have any idea about this? We have developers.facebook.com. Similarly, you have Google also, developers.google.com. Google developers, Google, Facebook developers, all this. Actually, what you can do is you can become a member of this and you can develop some apps and you can contribute to Meta community. Meta community means Facebook. That means for Facebook people, you can build an app and you can give an app to the Facebook community. They will use that app. They can even monetize the app. That means they can pay you for your app. If they like your app on Facebook, you see a lot of apps now. On Facebook, you see a lot of app recommendations will come, different apps. These are all the apps developed by Facebook community. That means the point is you can build apps for Facebook and you can give those apps to them. They can promote your apps and they can make money with those apps. They will pay you for those apps also. Monetization also there. Even Google also does the same. Now the point is, now developers doubt is which technology I have to use to build app. You asked me to build an app for you. Which technology I should use? Then Facebook community says that whatever technology you know, you design and give to us. We will take care about it. You know Java, build in Java. You know .NET, build in .NET. You know PHP, build in PHP. You just build what technology you know and give to us. We will take care about it. Then what our developers community started is they started developing apps and giving to this community. But our developers are not very much satisfied. Why? Because Facebook have their own apps developed by their own community, which looks more better than the apps that we design. Then we asked those Facebook people what you are using. Understood? That means developers asked Facebook people like what you are using. Facebook answered that we have our own library called React. And Google answered that we have our own library called AngularJS. AngularJS. Then developers asked like, why can't you give you this to us so that we will also use? Yeah. So then what happened is these Google and Meta community people made Angular and React as open so that everybody can use them. So React and Angular were there in the development. So for several years before world knows about them. That means before world knows about them, they were already there. They were internally used by React and Facebook and Google. That means Angular and React are not new inventions. They are discovery. You know the meaning of invention and discovery. They are discovery. For example, do you know one of the popular languages used by Google for building artificial intelligence and other embedded applications? It uses a language called Go programming. You know, you heard about it, right? Go programming language is very popular language used by Google. Internally, it uses it. After 3-4 years, it will become very popular. You may think that Go programming is newly invented, but it is already there from several years. Now it becomes popular. In future, it is going to trend very much. We are expecting that to happen. Go programming language is the native programming language of Google, which internally it uses for their apps. We are expecting that to be trending very much in the future market because recently our Naresh Technologies is tied up with NASSCOM. You know, NASSCOM is Indian Technical Education, Government of India, NASSCOM. And we have several clients, IITs. NASSCOM is affiliated with IITs. That means we are the training partners of IITs. We train IIT people also. We are the official training partners of IITs in NASSCOM. We are registered with NASSCOM. We are partner of NASSCOM. So Technical Education of India. And we got certain requirements in NASSCOM that train IIT people on Go language recently. Now imagine, so IIT like people are planning for that language means there might be something happening about it. IIT people like are going about one language means they have huge future plans. That means there might be so much revolution going on in future. We are not sure it will happen or not, but that means these all are not new technologies. They are already there. So what about React.js? React.js is already there before world knows about React.js. That is the reason I given this point. It is not designed for what you are using. You are borrowing from Meta community saying that please give it to me. I will use this for my apps. Is it designed for building your apps? No, it is not designed for building your apps. It is designed for their apps and you are borrowing it. Then obviously gaps will come. Gaps means what? It cannot satisfy whatever you need. There are a lot of gaps. That is the reason what React people have to do is lot of third-party implementations. Third-party implementations are required. This is one major issue. Lot of third-party integrations are required. That means everything you cannot satisfy with what React is having. You need lot of third-party. Do you know, in order to design a form also, you need a third party. If you try to design a form using React direct approach, then it will be very heavy. Even to design a small form, you need a third party. In order to interact with the APIs, that means to connect with API, make an AJAX call, we need a third party. That means every small concept needs a third party, but React is not very much concerned about that. Even it uses lot of third party, it have a architecture in such a way that it can easily integrate any third party. It will not be affected by that. It is easy to integrate the third parties, but lot of third parties are required. For example, I will show you one small concept. You see npmjs.com. This is actually package manager. And see, I am searching for a library called Formic. Formic is one popular library used by React people to build. And see what they say about Formic. Build forms in React without tears. What you are saying? Suppose a React developer comes and I will ask him design one registration form in React.js. He will literally cry. And what these people are saying, don't cry. Please don't cry. We have a solution for you. That means React people will literally cry if they have to design a form. Why? Because the way how React designs a form and handles the interaction, it is very tough, very risky, very lengthy. Then what these people say, build forms in React without crying. Don't cry, we have a solution for you. This is officially used by several. It is very officially used by several. There are so many libraries. That means you see, so hook form. This is another library. We use these libraries for designing form. And it says that these hook forms will provide you a lot of facilities. That means even to design a form, you have to depend on a third party, right? And we are not much worried about that, because even we have to integrate the third party, it is simple, easy to plug in, and it is good. It is not but it is a concern. That means lot of third parties. What is problem for React developer? You learn one third party, your company may be using something else. Hundreds of third parties will be there. You will learn 3-4 third parties here. Your company may be using something else. They may be buying something else. Then you should able to explore and you should able to learn them by yourself. This is one major problem with React is you need your efforts to put to explore and research the third parties, because we are not sure which third party a company uses. We learn familiarly used, but we are not sure. In a company, certain projects, they may be using something else. Then you should able to explore by yourself. This is one of the major drawback of this React, using so many things. So these are all the issues with React. Earlier, there were some more issues, but they are not any more issues now, because now the modern React is more advanced and perfect. Earlier, they have some more reasons to tell, but now they are not there. They talk about SEO friendliness and all these things. Currently, they are not problems. They are all solved. So there is no other worry. These are the major concerns of React. Remember, I given only technical points about this. Why? Because when you Google like what are the features of React, you will see a feature like easy to use, easy to learn. Seriously, it is a feature of React, easy to learn. But you will see out of 195%, all features of React will tell easy to use, easy to learn. What are these? That means if it is not easy, you are not going to use me. That means you are using React just because it is easy to use, easy to learn. That is the concern. That is a point. That is a feature. Such features I ignored actually. Because online you will see such features. On YouTube and online you will see so many such features. So I ignored all of them because that is not a concern for a developer. What developer concerns we discuss. It is modular, it is component based, and it is loosely coupled, extensible, right? It uses virtual DOM. These are all technical. General features I ignored. That general not required to know about them, right? These are the features and issues with the concept of React. I hope you are clear, right? Once you know this, now we will start learning the React. That means we will learn how to set up environment for React. And we will see how to use React in a project. So how we can use React in a project. That means how to set up the environment, what to install, how to set up everything, and how do we use React in a project. Remember, generally what people do is, in order to learn React, they think that they have to build a separate React application, which everyone shows. That means in YouTube or any website, what you see is, you will see that React application is built, but React can be used even in one page. That means we will learn about how to use React in an existing web application. We will learn how to use React in an existing web application, and we will learn how to build a separate React application. We will learn both things. Generally, majority trainings will be happening on creating a separate React app, but we will not do that. We will learn how to use React in an existing app. Many times people ask like, can I use React and Angular both in one application? You can. You can. Of course, huge technologies like Java, PHP are combined and used in several apps. I hope you know best example IRCTC. Have you seen IRCTC? Once check IRCTC. IRCTC half is Java, half is PHP. That means certain modules will be in JSP, certain modules will be in PHP. After all, front-end technology, I can mix everything. I can design one page with React, another page with Angular, another page with jQuery. It is possible. Now we will see both approaches. How to use React in an existing web application. And next we will see how to use separate React application. For that, first you have to learn how to set up the environment for React. That we will see in next session. Tomorrow we will do that. Right? From tomorrow we are going to start practical. Right, we are going to start practically working. How to install, what to install, everything I will give you step by step. You can start practical. And all these notes, course content, everything we will upload in a WhatsApp community. You can open your WhatsApp and scan this QR code and join this WhatsApp community so that you will get, I will open this in full screen so that you will get all the notes here. Our admin will post the course content also here. You can get it. This is WhatsApp community. You can open directly WhatsApp and scan, and you will join this community. Is it there working? You can open direct QR code reader also. It will directly join. Join this community. Our admin will post all the document. Yesterday's, today's, previous and today's video session and notes and course content also will be uploaded there once checked. Complete course content, what topics we are going to discuss. And if you have any doubts related to those content, then let me know about them, right? Then tomorrow we'll continue. Okay, right. Thank you.